Hello and welcome to my channel. So today we're doing airbrush makeup. There will be two videos for this look. This video is part one and it is the foundation, concealer and blusher, which is all airbrushed. The second video, part two, will be airbrush eyeshadow and airbrush lips and airbrush eyebrows. And it is all silicone base airbrush makeup. Let's begin. We have already cleansed, toned, moisturised and primed before starting the airbrushing. What we're doing here is using a very light green to cover up any redness or any sort of pimples in the areas and just pulsing the airbrush over these areas lightly. Remember, if you're doing anything under the nose, get your model or yourself to breathe out your nose so you don't get any makeup up your nose. The PSI we're using is around about 5 to 6 on the face. If you have too much of any product, just dab it off quickly before it dries, and a dab, don't sweep. The green I'm using today is called Pistachio and it's from the Mist Air Corrector and Adjuster range. What you will notice is when I do something which isn't a pimple, which is a bigger surface area, I do little circles with my airbrush to give a more flawless finish. And this is how we're going to be doing our foundation with lots and lots of circles. This is a little great demonstration of how this green just gets rid of that little red mark on the side of her eye. Here we're just getting rid of the redness on the end of her nose to give a more even skin tone. So today we're doing a light to medium look with the airbrush. Do not do what I did, which I forgot I was doing a light to medium coverage. I just went over with the model's foundation colour over the top of the screen. What you need to do is, where you got the green, is put a shade lighter on the green areas and then cover the whole face with their normal foundation colour. Or you will get the odd green tinge come through in certain lights. So we're going to do this little circular motion to get our foundation out of the airbrush, and we're going to do this around the whole of the face, just these nice little circles, and remembering to get our model or ourselves to blow out of our nose when we do underneath the nose and our lips. We're doing the shade a little bit darker so you can see it on a camera today. Usually with our model here, she has a little bit lighter shade in this, but we're about half a shade darker so you can see it on the camera. So we do the neck when we do airbrush foundation. You should really do it with any foundation. Do a bit of the neck and blend it in. So we're just going to do the neck as well as the face, just to blend it in with the rest of her, especially that with a little bit darker than her normal skin tone, and it's a little bit more yellow. This silicone foundation is from Airbase. As you can see, as the foundation goes on, it goes on quite dark where it's wet, and it will dry a little bit lighter than what it is now. Trying to demonstrate a makeup on the camera is quite interesting, especially when you can't actually move the camera because you're by yourself, and it's very hard to be in front of the model without blocking the camera, so you can see both sides of the face where you're doing things symmetrically. So having a turning chair, a swivel chair, is quite useful in this situation. As you can see, this is not a full coverage. You can still see her veins and some of her freckles and moles when we're doing this look. I aim to go over twice when I do foundation makeup, just to make sure I've covered every area I want to be covered with this foundation. The air-based silicone foundation is a semi-matte, so this is going to get more and more matte as it dries, but there will be still a slight shine. What you can do, you can powder this foundation afterwards if you want a matte finish. But yeah, as this demonstration goes on, this will get less and less shiny, but there will be a slight shine at the end. I'm going over the green areas again because I forgot to go over them in a lighter shade in their foundation. I did mention this earlier in the video. As the foundation dries and changes colour, you can see areas where you've missed, so just lightly go over these areas and blend them in. Now I'm just using this foundation just to put a base colour on the eyes, ready for me to do the eyeshadow in the next video. So you need your client or model or whoever you're doing this makeup on to keep their eyes closed once you've done the eyes until it's dry, or it will pull in the creases. And also when you're doing the foundation underneath the eyes, you don't want them to squint. You want them to keep their eyes as relaxed as possible and eyes closed until this area is dry. So we're just contouring here about half a shade darker, and it's going to be quite light because our model is going to be walking out with this on. This is not for photography, so we don't have to go to the extreme with contouring. It's just to give a little bit and a little bit for the demonstration. And this silicone makeup is from Atelier Paris. I will put this on the video screen because I cannot pronounce this correctly. As you can see, we're making our contour colour very subtle, so our model can go down a town straight after this little demonstration without very heavy makeup and contouring. We're just contouring down the side of her nose just to make it look a little bit more thinner. And we're just going to add some of this contour underneath the jawline, just to sharpen it up. And if it's too dark in certain areas, what we'll do is go over it with our foundation colour, the original foundation colour we used, just to blend it out a little bit more. So before it dries completely, I'm just dabbing off some of the excess on the neck. I'm just going to get a shade lighter in the foundation to do our highlights. So I'm starting to highlight now, so I'm just going to go down the nose to highlight the nose. There we are. And I'm going to highlight the end of the chin. I do darken this down again because of her lovely little spot she's got on her chin, but so I do darken it that area down again. And I'm just going to highlight underneath the eyes. Now what you'll see, because I'm not straight on, because I'm doing it for the camera, I do one eye slightly different to the other. It goes a bit further down, but I'm not really bothered about this because often when we do the eyeshadow, I have to go over this area again, just to get rid of anything that was dropped off. So yeah, so not so bothered, but usually I'll be straight on with the model and this should be absolutely symmetrical, but you will see one side goes a little bit further down than the other. I'm just going to highlight that little bit on her forehead as well, because our model's got a lovely, lovely forehead, but her hairline goes quite far back. So what I'm doing now is getting a shield to protect the eyes. So therefore I can hold the shield up, let the model open her eyes, and I can get as close to under these eyes as possible to get the highlight all the way to her waterline if we're aiming for. So the shield is there just to protect the eyeball and to stop our model from squinting. Most makeup airbrush companies do sell these shields, and they usually get 3 or 4 in a pack of all different shapes and sizes and curves. As you can see, the shine from the foundation has really, really gone down now. It is me just darkening up that spotted area. All I'm doing is using that foundation shade we had originally just to darken that spotted area. So we're just blending that contoured area I did earlier with the original foundation colour on the neck, and anywhere it does need a little bit more blending. And don't waste your product, blend it down, blend it into the chest area, and blend it onto the shoulders if you have to. Don't waste any of your product. So we're just using the Airbrush blusher now, and we're just going to do this blusher. We're going to do like little tiny circle fashions again. I'm just using my fingers as a marker, so both sides are as even as possible. So we're just going to literally just do little tiny circles as low pressure as we can, because we're going to try and make this makeup really, really light. And this blusher is more of the orangey peachy colour. They do like a couple of pinky colours as well, but they do about 3 blushes. Other companies do more, they do purple colours and browns and all sorts. But we're going to try and keep this nice and light for our model to go out in the daytime. So it's nice and nice, little tiny circles, and I use my 2 fingers as a guide so I know how close I am to the nose. So as you can see, it's very subtle. It hardly picks up on the camera and under these big strong lights, because this is more of a day look makeup than a theatrical makeup or one for photography. And our model's going to walk home in this afterwards, therefore we don't want her to look like she's come off the stage and wearing stage makeup. And that is it for part 1 of this makeup look. Please visit my YouTube channel for part 2 if you want to see how I do the eyeshadow and lips for this look. Hope you guys enjoyed it and found it quite informative, and see you guys later. Bye!